This podcast contains advice that should never be followed, spoilers you'll wish you hadn't heard, and language you wouldn't teach to children.
When life gets you down, your car just won't start. Agony art. It's time for agony art. If you've reached a dead end, you're not sure what to do. Agony art. Well, agony art is for you. At times life is grand, you've got the world in your hands. Then somehow you drop that ball. Instead of watching it fall, give agony art a call. Welcome to Agony Art, the Agony Art podcast in which we try to solve your problems, not by offering actual advice, but instead by telling you how those problems were solved in the great art of our age. And while we can't guarantee we'll solve any of your problems, at least you'll be left with a fun reading, listening and watching list to enjoy in your spare time. My name is Liam. I'm an amateur musician and occasional listener of albums. And with me I have Aaron, our languid literary liaison, and Carl, our magnificent movie maverick, here with us in our home away from home. Yes, that's right. We're back in the studio.
Woo! Let's on tour.
How does it feel?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
It's strange being back, isn't it?
It's a little bit muggy.
Muggy in
I don't
here.
like that I can't mute you both anymore.
We would have a fan on, Carl, but it fucks up the mics.
It's okay. I'm not really muggy. You're muggy.
Well, muggy or not, Carl, you'll be astounded, I'm sure, to learn this is our 20th episode.
20 episodes. That is mental.
And also, it's the last episode of Series 1.
Oh my
Wow.
days.
Finally.
We've been through 19 episodes of solid story to get to this point. How's it going to end?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Fade to black.
It was all a dream.
Is it going to be a cliffhanger? We're going to leave it open for a second series?
I dreamt there was a shit podcast. So, what have we learned from doing 20 episodes of a podcast? We're virgin podcasters. Maybe the listeners are like, yeah, we fucking knew that. We'd never done a podcast before, and here we are at the end of Series 1 of our first podcast, 20 episodes down. What have we learned about podcasting, do you reckon?
I've learned that podcasting makes you £0.
£0. You're not wrong. So far. But we're in touching distance of 1,000 listens. I reckon when we hit 1,000 listens, we should do a giveaway on Instagram.
What would we give away?
Liam's virginity.
Oh, I sold that ages ago. I reckon, I was thinking something like, because we do films, books and music, 3 months of Netflix, 3 months of Spotify, 3 months of a book subscription.
Who's paying for this?
You.
Okay.
or the lucky winner.
You get to buy your own subscription. Maybe this competition needs some work, but Liam, what have you learned from 20 episodes of podcasting?
I've learned that there's a lot of effort that goes into a podcast. and sometimes
Prep work.
all of the hosts put in the effort.
I haven't learned that because Liam and Aaron do everything, basically.
Carl's like, effort?
Let's flip this back on you, Aaron. What do you think? Is there anything that we need to do better in Series 2?
I think probably we're already aware of the problems we've got. Like,
It doesn't work.
no. I think the biggest problem we've got is promoting ourselves, because the people on Instagram who are very successfully getting new listeners are very good at courting strangers. And we're not. As we've discussed before, we're scared of the opinions of strangers.
So, before we begin, I want to make it very clear that we're not really here to solve your life's hardest problems. All of our submissions are certified 100% trivial or fictional pickles, and our advice should almost never be followed. We're really only here to have fun, So if you're having a real hard time, I'd recommend visiting our website for guidance on who to turn to. That's agonyartpodcast.com. So, let's get on with the show. Here's our first problem of the day. My partner and I have just bought a new puppy, and I've never been more excited or more in love. But the puppy seems to like my partner more than me, which is deeply upsetting. Should I try to steal her away, or just deal with being the least favourite parent?
Who let Michael Caine in?
I'm so sorry, puppy.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody puppy up.
Oh, God. Maybe that's why it doesn't like you. Carl, didn't you buy a puppy during COVID?
I did, yes.
Does it prefer your wife to you?
She goes with whoever has a blanket.
She goes, woohoo.
She goes, woohoo, blanket. No, she, like when we're sitting on the sofa, she'll just go with whoever looks the comfiest. And she's obsessed with blankets. And the other day, it's hot now, not doxing us, but you know, weather's good.
Not doxing the season.
No.
Cool, now everyone knows we're in the Northern Hemisphere.
But my wife was just wearing a dress, as you would do, and it was just like trying to get under her dress, as thinking it was a blanket. She was like, "Why are you wearing a blanket and I'm not?"
So this isn't a problem that you've got then,
no,
because you can just out blanket each other when you want to receive
yeah,
dog
we have
love.
a solution, yeah. And
So, not that I'm taking over hosting, but names.
Names. Michael Caine.
Michael.
Michael.
There you go. Michael's got a dog. The dog loves his partner more.
Bruce
Is Bruce a shark?
Bruce Wayne.
Right, so who can start us off?
Well, I will, because I've got some gold.
Oh,
Big
you can't start it with that and then it be a letdown, Carl.
I know.
Maybe Carl should go last, so that if it is a letdown, we can really build up to it.
No, I'd rather paper over it not being gold afterwards. But you may recall last episode I mentioned a certain film that someone from my past was a big fan of. You remember?
Someone from your past.
Yeah. Well, a builder, basically, that I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course. We should have known this would come up.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
3.
3.
So I decided to go all the way back to Beverly Hills
Rewind.
Chihuahua
The original.
1. Now, obviously, I didn't watch this, but I've done extensive research on.
Obviously, I didn't. But you could have, because it's on Disney+. Other streaming services are available.
But a quick question for you, and this might explain why it spawned 2 sequels, but off a budget of $20 million, how much did Beverly Hills Chihuahua gross?
Budget of 20 million.
Well, it made enough to justify a sequel, so I'm going to guess 2 sequels. So I'm going to guess 40 or 50 million.
80 million.
$150 million.
Oh, that is ridiculous. Who paid to go and see it?
Well, the
Except
guy-
your mate.
Who was in it?
So I reckon that most of that 20 million was paid to Jamie Lee Curtis and Drew Barrymore for starring in
Oh
Beverly
my
Hills.
days.
Were they already famous at this point as well?
Well, it was 2008, so yes, I think so.
No. Neither of them had been heard of at that point.
Well, what was Jamie Lee Curtis' first film? Anyone know? Or first mainstream film?
Freaky Friday.
Liam?
No idea.
Halloween.
Oh,
Really?
1973, something like that. And Drew Barrymore? We all know this one.
E.T.
E.T.
18.
Yeah.
I was going to say Batman Forever.
Was she in that?
I think so.
I know I have issues with plot rundowns, but there's not a lot to this one, so just bear with me, okay? So, Viv is Chloe the Chihuahua's owner. She leaves Chloe the Chihuahua with her irresponsible niece Rachel, which already seems like a stupid thing to do.
Yeah. Does she know she's irresponsible?
Well, she must do, really, yeah.
Is the niece played by Drew Barrymore?
I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe. So, Chloe the Chihuahua is a pampered, living the life of luxury in Beverly Hills, loving life, to the point where one of the plot lines is she hates the Mexican gardener's Chihuahua who fancies her.
Wait, the Chihuahua fancies her? Or the
No.
Mexican gardener?
No, the Mexican gardener's Chihuahua fancies Chloe the Chihuahua.
Oh, okay. Fuck. This is becoming a clueless plotline.
Yeah, in the film, just imagine Chihuahuas are people, I think.
So what are people? And people are Chihuahuas.
So Pappy the gardener's Chihuahua fancies Chloe, but he's obviously rough stock, so Chloe doesn't want anything to do with him. But anyway, that's kind of like a side plot. There is a side plot to this film. So Chloe's all pampered and stuff, living life of luxury. Rachel, the irresponsible niece, decides to go on a trip to Mexico and takes Chloe with her because she's watching her. So, well, fuck it, I'll take the Chihuahua too.
Fuck it.
And then Rachel goes out, leaving Chloe in the hotel room. And then Chloe gets anxious because she's not used to being on her own and she's used to being pampered. And, excuse me, Rachel, where are you? You're supposed to be looking after me.
Is she the kind of person who carries a Chihuahua in her handbag?
Well, no, she didn't take her with her, so probably not.
No, but you know,
Viv, yeah, I would
normally.
imagine Viv, the actual owner, is, yeah, exactly. And so obviously Chloe goes missing, looking for Rachel in Mexico, and gets dognapped.
Oh, shit.
She ends up in a dogfighting ring.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
Sounds dark.
scheduled to fight a Doberman named El Diablo. And then there's a hero dog called Delgado, who's a police dog, who's an Alsatian, I believe. But he was forced into early retirement because he lost his sense of smell after being attacked by El Diablo.
Oh, shit,
Yeah,
boy.
so they got beef going back years. So Delgado helps Chloe escape El Diablo.
I love the spirit of your...
Do you?
Yeah.
And then there's a really weird little side bit where Chloe saves a pack rat named Manuel from being eaten by an iguana named Chico. I don't know why they all need names, like especially like the side animals, you know. Manuel gratefully offers to take Chloe's collar to his ship for the captain to read it, and Chloe accepts. But when Delgado returns and finds out what happened, he explains that it was all a con to steal Chloe's expensive collar, and that in reality, iguana's a vegetarian.
Wait, hang on, do the dogs talk?
Chico would never have eaten Manuel.
Yeah, what is... I'll echo Liam's question.
Yeah.
Do the dogs talk?
Yeah. What do you think they're doing? Like,
Can the humans understand them? Is this
No.
set in our world?
yeah.
Or is this
Yeah.
the
No, it's set in their world.
BHCU?
I think it's they understand each other. All animals
Oh,
appear
right.
to understand each other, but
Yeah.
humans don't understand them. So,
Makes sense. Why not?
yeah. So then, like things happen. Chloe gets attacked by mountain lions. They get trapped in an Aztec temple, but they make it back to Beverly Hills when Delgado miraculously recovers his scent.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Nice,
he has a
yeah.
good news story.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chloe realizes that, they end up, the Aztec temple is in Chihuahua, in Mexico. And Chloe kind of finds herself in Chihuahua and realizes that she loves Pappy all along. He's not too rough for her. So anyway, they end up back at Beverly Hills, and things are all great. Where is the relevance? I see you searching for it.
Been wondering for 8 minutes since you began this plot summary.
So my point is to love your dog. That's what they're there for. Be nice to them, treat them well. But don't joust for its affections because you're going to give it a complex and they're going to get anxious and you might find out that it wanders off in Mexico and ends up having a bit of an adventure. But
What if you don't go to Mexico?
then it might wander off in Canterbury.
But the thing is, you never know what your irresponsible niece is going to do. So
No.
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially when she's Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Remarkably unreliable person.
So I would say both love your dog, but don't overdo it. Keep it grounded.
Well, I would... I'm going to take that a bit further.
Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2.
No. I'm going to... yeah, I think you're on the right track there, Carl. I think, you got to love your puppy like you do. Love your puppy like you do.
Love it like you do.
Exactly. But I'm thinking maybe right now you're not loving it in the right way, and that's why it's not, giving you the attention you want, Michael.
This is a family show.
You still don't want to love it in that way.
I want my puppy to love me in any way I want.
You're only supposed to blow the puppy's back doors off.
No, gone wrong.
I definitely can't make it, although it's amazing.
That is not getting cut. I promise you that. No. What I'm going to tell you is about Steinbeck. You know Steinbeck, the author?
Mice and Men.
John.
Yeah, of Mice and Men, John. That's right.
Steinbeck, John, of Mice and Men, author.
John Steinbeck had a dog who ate the first draft of Mice and Men. And Steinbeck had to rewrite all of that from scratch.
Oh, don't you hate it when you don't save your work?
Exactly. He didn't even back it up to the cloud.
Hang on, did you say his dog ate it?
Ate.
Is this the excuse he gave his publisher?
Possibly. This is a letter he wrote. Minor tragedy stalked. I don't know whether I told you. My setter pup, left alone one night, made confetti of about half my book. 2 months' work to do over again. It sets me back. There was no other draft. I was pretty mad, but the poor little fellow may have been acting critically. That's a quote from a letter printed in Steinbeck, A Life in Letters, edited by Elaine Steinbeck and Robert Wallstep. And that last sentence is the bit I want to focus on.
Critical, do you say?
Yeah, the poor little fellow may have been acting critically. Maybe the dog had acted up because he thought it was a shit draft.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, he hated the
Basically
book.
what he's saying. And it was the novel's fault that the dog ripped it up. And maybe it's your fault, listener. We might as well finish the series with victim blaming. This is how we started. Maybe your puppy isn't showing you as much affection because of something you're doing. Maybe you're trying too hard. You're too desperate for love and it's creeping the dog out. The dog's thinking, what's this fucking weirdo hanging around me all the time for? Stroking me and scratching my behind. So I think you should just chill out, Michael. Play hard to fetch for a while.
So you're not going to use Of Mice and Men where Lenny loves animals too much and breaks their necks?
That's a good example of loving animals the wrong way, Carl. There you go. My example is manyfold in its effectiveness.
Layers upon layers.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, I think one thing you could do is you could take a leaf out of Paul Anka's book and you could sit around crying about it. So
That'd make you a bit of a Paul Anka, wouldn't it?
So I'm referring to Paul Anka's 1960 hit, Puppy Love.
I thought that was Donny Osmond.
Well, it was later covered by Donny Osmond.
I thought that was Sonny and Cher.
So Donny Osmond covered it 12 years later at the age of 14. And I don't know if it was more successful, but it was at least as successful when Donny Osmond did it. Can you imagine if a 14-year-old covered one of your songs and it was as successful as when you did it?
How many songs have you released so far, Carl?
I couldn't imagine it, Lee.
I'm trying to imagine it.
I can imagine a 14-year-old doing my actual job better than me.
It's a similar sort of thing, I think. So I just wanted to take a brief aside to talk a little bit about Paul Anka, because I feel like people don't really know much about him in general, and I think he deserves a bit more recognition.
I think you're being really rude calling him a wanker.
I think there's a dog named after him in Gilmore Girls.
Is there?
Yeah, I'm gonna not fully commit to that.
Well, I didn't find that in my research, but I'm willing to believe you. So, in addition to his own solo career, he has songwriting credits on 3 hugely successful songs. So, Puppy Love is one of them. The other 2 are Tom Jones's She's a Lady and Frank Sinatra's My Way, which he wrote the English lyrics for.
What? Was it in a different language first?
It's originally a French song, I believe.
No,
Yeah, Frank Sinatra was Edith Piaf in disguise all along. So he also wrote a song called It Doesn't Matter Anymore. Which
Paul Anka is a dog in the Gilmore Girls.
He is a dog in the Gilmore. Okay, great. Thanks, Carl. Yes, he also wrote a song called It Doesn't Matter Anymore, which was recorded by Buddy Holly just before he died. And it reached number 1 in the UK. And instead of cynically cashing in on this like he could have done, Paul Anka decided to donate all of his royalties to Buddy Holly's family. I thought that's really nice. Little story there. But my favourite thing about Paul Anka is he recorded an album in 2005 called Rock Swings. And it's a bit like, if you're familiar with Richard Cheese, it's a bit like that, but with a much higher budget, where a swing singer and a big band do lots of kind of rock songs. So he had a full big band, and the album featured some really great arrangements of rock classics like It's My Life, Eye of the Tiger, Smells Like Teen Spirit, things like that. It's top quality. I'd really recommend it. So give that a listen, Carl. I think you'll like it.
Thanks.
How did this relate to the problem?
I'm just...
Oh yeah, puppy
It's
love.
about dogs, isn't it? Yeah. So far,
And it was a dog in Gilmore Girls. I
Yeah.
didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I mean, so everything I've said about Paul Anka so far isn't really relevant.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go back
it
to
all related.
we're going to go back to 1960 and talk about puppy love. So
Oh yeah, fuck it, hell. Donny Osmond's song.
well,
And Paul Anka covered it.
yeah, been listening to
when he was 14, right? Yeah.
So Paul Anka was actually 18 when he released the song the first time around in 1960.
So how old was he? Here's the maths for you when Donny Osmond released it.
How old was he
30.
14 years later?
Oh, I thought it was 12 years later. Fucking hell.
So it's 14 years later, and Donny Osmond was 14. So he might not even been born when it come out.
Oh wait, no, Aaron's right. It was 12 years later.
Yeah.
I got confused. There was two numbers. One was 12, one was 14. I said the wrong one.
Pop quiz, asshole.
Right. Anyway, Paul Anka was 18 when he released this. No, we knew that. I got that right the first time.
This is my new best game. Stifle Liam.
Say anything you can to throw Liam off track.
So Paul Anka was 18 when he released this, and that was quite fitting because it tells a tale of a 17-year-old who's just had their heart broken, and everyone's telling him it's only puppy love, you'll get over it.
He's heartbroken
From puppy love. and this is kind of the point, right? Puppy love is generally used derogatively. That was a tough word, but I got through it. to describe like that naive, immature relationships that we go through while we're growing up, and I think perhaps in the fullness of time, your puppy might also come into maturity and repay your affections too.
Why are we back to having sex with your dog? For fuck's sake, this is series 1 finale.
Not that type of maturity.
We're jumping the shark here, Liam.
Now we're fucking a shark. Jesus Christ.
So you're saying persist and it might sort itself out? That's the answer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, your puppy at the end of the day is a puppy. He's young. She's young. She's immature. Was it a she? I think so.
Yeah, it was a she, yeah.
So your puppy's young, she's immature, and, she's going to grow up one day, and when she grows up, she might realise, that, you were giving her just as much love as your other half. But there's other advice in the music industry as well.
Jesus Christ, we're already 10 minutes over. Time our problems.
You can cut out his first answer, don't worry. Just say there are examples.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few other examples of puppy love in the music industry as well, and they're all fairly negative, to be honest. And I think Nate Dogg sums it up quite well in his 1998 track called Puppy Love.
There's a song called Puppy Love.
Yeah.
Written by Paul Anka.
When Nate Dogg was 14.
And Nate Dogg talks about his own experience, and he says he got played, and he lays it out in his song, and this is a direct quote. He says, "Thought she was sent from the heavens above. Yo, it's just a bad taste of puppy love," and that's the point. It was young, it was naive, and he got burned. So I think we've all round the houses agreed on the same thing here, which I think Carl put it beautifully, which is don't go overboard, don't just too much for your dog's affections, and because you don't want to go over the top and end up in a bad place.
So before we move on to problem 2, Liam, I've got a little. It's not a little game show. I don't want to compete with you as the
It's the Les Dennis of our operation.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much competition. Mine went down like a lead balloon.
But it is a little pop quiz. So I've spent the past 4 weeks trawling through the first series of Agony Art. And I've compiled the Series 1 Agony Art stats. Now, obviously, this is not including this finale episode. But so, here goes. What do you think is our most mentioned song?
Most mentioned song.
I don't think it takes a genius. I think you could listen to one episode and know which song this is.
Happy Birthday by Stevie Wonder.
No. Carl?
Go Your Own Way.
No. Take This Job and Shove It. Fucking hell.
Fuck's sake.
Take This Job and Shove It by Johnny Paycheck. The runner-up was That Don't Impress Me Much by Shania Twain. We've mentioned that 3 times, I think. Take This Job and Shove It was 5 times, I think. How many songs do you reckon we've mentioned in total? Pre-finale.
It's got to be over 100. I reckon like 115.
Carl?
288.
190.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's 10 songs per episode on average so far. Assuming an average song length of 3 minutes 30, that would take you 11 hours to listen to. 665 minutes.
And you say I've got the easiest job.
Well, wait until you hear how long it would take to read and watch all of the other things we've mentioned. What do you reckon the most mentioned book is?
On Writing by Stephen King.
No.
Most mentioned book, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yes.
Bollocks.
Obviously. By John le Carre. How many books do you reckon we've mentioned in 19 episodes? It's going to be less than songs because you two basically never mention books. No, we have a few times. And
60, I'm going.
Yeah, I don't think you're far off. I'll go with like 78.
161
That's
books.
a lot more than I expected.
And how many of those have you read, Aaron?
1.
I was going to say, I know how long it took you to read them.
Well, assuming an average word count of 90,000, and some of them will be much higher than that, like the Game of Thrones books, and some of them will be much lower, like the one book of mine that I mentioned. And an average reading speed of 300 words per minute, which is the average adult reading speed. That means about 5 hours per book. So in total, it would take you 33 and a half days to read all the books we've mentioned so far.
Non-stop, 24 hours a day.
Yeah. So if you thought that was bad, Carl, and that was a lot of time, wait until you hear how long it'd take you to consume all the media you've mentioned.
Ooh.
For film and TV, what do you reckon is the most mentioned film?
True Lies.
Nope.
Lord of the Rings.
Aladdin.
Aladdin?
I haven't even mentioned that as an example.
Exactly. And I think that's because of, all of the references we've made to it, such
Cave
as
of Wonders.
Cave of Wonders. Runner-up was shared by Rocky and Karate Kid.
Oh.
Both original underdog stories.
No, you're speaking my language.
So Cole covers film and TV. So there were also a load of TV series mentioned. What do you reckon the total films and TV series mentioned were? So we had 190 songs and 161 books.
278.
333.
228.
Ooh.
That's 24 of which were TV shows, including things like Pointless, which has had 1,500 plus episodes.
We're going to say mentions from us.
Arthur, which is still going since the 90s.
Half is still going.
Arthur is still going. So, assuming an average film length of 95 minutes and an average series episode length of 25 minutes, and some of them are quite a lot more, like Lost, for example, the total would be 323 hours of films, so that's 13 and a half days, 2,089 hours of TV series, which is 87 days. In total, if you were going to watch everything Carl has mentioned, and to be honest, all of us have mentioned, it would take you more than 100 days to consume all of that film and TV media.
We've done good for the listener. That's a lot of things to consume for them.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
If you have listened to probably 20 hours of our podcast and you still complaining that you've got nothing to watch, read or listen to, you can go fuck yourself.
Take your ears and shove them.
A ranger came a-ranging to Old Town one fine day. The townsfolk came to meet him. They heard what he had to say. He said, I hear this town's got problems, some outlaws on the run, and I've come to solve these problems with my problem gun. Word soon got to these outlaws about a ranger new in town, and they soon came out of hiding to put this ranger down. They laughed when they first saw him beneath the high noon sun, but he soon stopped them from laughing with his problem gun. Problem gun, problem gun. Yeah, the ranger solved their problems with his problem gun. And on that note, after we've told the listeners to go fuck themselves, let's move on to problem 2. I have real trouble persuading myself to feel confident about anything. I always feel like I don't know what I'm doing, even when I do. And that everyone thinks I'm rubbish, even when they're giving me compliments. What can I do to start feeling more like I can take on the world?
So it's got to be Brian, hasn't it? So it's obvious that Brian, the writer, has imposter syndrome, basically, doesn't he? You familiar with imposter
Stockholm syndrome, is like that.
No. It's where you've been taken captive and forced to write in problems to Agony Aunt podcasts. No. Imposter syndrome is where you always feel like you're not where you're supposed to be, and people are going to find you out for it. So, you don't feel like you should be doing your job because you haven't got the skill for it. And someone's going to find me out. I'm not good enough to do this job. When really you probably are. It's just that you've got imposter syndrome. We all get it from time to time. Do you ever get it, Carl? I get the feeling that Carl has never felt out of place. He's looking at me like...
Oh, no. I feel out of place, but not at work.
Carl can always do his job.
Carl delivers. Call me the postman.
Because I don't come on Sunday. I've never really felt like it at work either, touch wood. I think I probably feel it more in podcasting.
We are all imposters.
We are going to get found out.
Yeah.
If anyone listens to this, which luckily they won't.
Yeah, no. Did you hear that bestiality episode?
They are not fit for this.
So are you expanded on the imposter syndrome bit?
I can do, yeah. So in The Secret History by Donna Tartt, published by Knopf, Richard Papin, I hope I'm saying that right, is your average middle-class bloke who attends an elite college in Vermont. And he worms his way into a clique of 5 very posh students. Mainly really so that I think it's mainly so that he can enroll in a particular very picky professor's classes. So he worms his way into this group, but he doesn't really have the same background as these posh kids that he's wormed his way into. So like the writer, like Brian, he's got this intense imposter syndrome and he lives his life worried that they're going to find him out as not being anywhere near as fancy as they are. So a quote from the book: "On leaving home, I was able to fabricate a new and far more satisfying history, full of striking, simplistic environmental influences, a colourful past, easily accessible to strangers." So he changes to fit in, he makes up a backstory for himself, and he spends his entire life fully being someone else so that he doesn't get found out as not fitting into this environment. But in the book, that leads him into a whole maze of secrets and... eventually, spoilers, murder cover-ups. And even nearly gets him killed. And if he'd just chilled out, just let himself be who he was, not worried so much about whether or not he fit in, then he might not have exposed himself to all that drama. And he could have left a nice, peaceful life after all. So, Brian, if you can, I think you should just try to stop worrying about whether or not you're an imposter in this environment and just trust what's going on around you. If people are giving you compliments, as you say in the problem, then you must be doing your job to a good enough degree that, that no one's having a go at you. So you must be doing something right. I would say don't try and change or lie to give yourself more confidence because you'll end up in a sticky situation. Just let yourself be.
There's a delicious irony to that, isn't there? He was so worried about being an imposter that he made up a story and became the imposter that he didn't want to be.
I kind of have the same vibe as you, Aaron. I'm feeling your vibes, as the 2021 kids say.
Do they?
We're vibing right now.
I've never vibed so much.
Who brought this vibraphone in?
Can you play the vibraphone, Liam?
I think I can, but I probably can't.
Is that the one that goes...
That's a theremin, I think.
The Beach Boys one.
Or maybe you're just having a stroke, I'm not sure.
I was thinking of ghosts.
So I don't necessarily have a particular film to talk about, but I think that you should...
Is this your way of saying you did no research?
Yeah. I stopped at Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
So Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2.
Pappy and Chloe, they're gone. But I do think you're right about the imposter syndrome thing, and I think the way to deal with that is maybe to create yourself an alter ego that will deal with it for you.
Wait a minute, so you're going in the complete opposite direction to me. I was like, be yourself, just absorb your surroundings,
So we're not
live in the
vibing.
moment. You were like, create an alter ego, live as someone else.
Yeah.
Do you think Carl just thought, whatever Aaron says, I'm going to say the exact opposite?
Yeah. And that's why we're vibing.
We're vibing in opposite directions.
So like the two of you, can you think of film alter egos, film or TV alter egos? There's a few obvious ones. I think.
Face Off.
I want to take his face.
They're two people. They're not really alter egos.
Oh, yeah. Batman.
Batman's a good one.
Salvage that.
Yeah. So there's Aaron. You there's one that you have to get surely.
Oh, you thinking of Tyler Durden?
Yeah.
The Mask.
The Mask's on my list.
Did you miss me?
So let's talk about Fight Club first. So when I was looking this up, I've seen Fight Club obviously, and I've read Fight Club as well. Crazy, I know. But is he as...
You can't read.
No, I know.
The audiobook, was it?
But has the Edward Norton character got a name?
No.
It says narrator on when I was looking it up.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They call him Jack sometimes because he sometimes quotes the Reader's Digest, doesn't he? I am Jack's deflated sense of self-worth or whatever he says.
Yeah. Interesting, though, isn't it? That, Tyler Durden's made up, but you don't actually know the name of the person that's not made up. So, yeah, Fight Club, 1999, directed by David Fincher. The book's written by Chuck, what's his name?
Palahniuk.
Palahniuk.
Oh,
Yeah, so the narrator, struggling with normal, mundane life, creates Tyler Durden, an uber-cool, good-looking terrorist, can we say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who just doesn't give a fuck. And that's how he deals with his life, effectively. And then we'll move on to The Mask. Now, I've only seen The Mask once, and when I was a kid when it come out.
What?
And I know you two both love it.
That's mad.
I know. Is it
It's
bad
on
or mad?
Netflix.
Is it on Netflix? I need to watch it again. But
I'll lend you it. I've got it on DVD.
okay, lend it to me. I won't watch it on Netflix. So what do you think The Mask can... is The Mask a good alter ego?
The story of The Mask
Begins with Paul Anka.
and it was later covered by Donny Osmond. The moral of it really is that Stanley Ipkiss he's really kind of, he's quite introverted in a way, isn't he? He doesn't like express himself a lot, and using the mask teaches him to do that a bit more, and then at the end of it, that's how he saves the day and gets the girl and all that.
But the moral really of the story is that he should have been himself.
Yeah.
Because he uses the mask to get confidence and to get superpowers really as well. But it actually puts Cameron Diaz off, doesn't it? When he's a bit over the top as the mask.
But the thing she's got to realise is we all wear masks.
Metaphorically speaking. And who possesses the mask?
The dog.
No.
No.
Uh,
The mask is possessed by a god.
Oh, is it?
Oh, Loki. Yeah.
Loki.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I need to watch it again. But the best bit is where the dog wears it, for sure. My favourite bit, when I was 9. So that one kind of fits into your narrative a bit more then, doesn't it, Aaron?
Yeah. Be
So-
yourself.
And then one that doesn't really work, but is an alter ego. Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader. You know, Anakin was filled up with pent up rage. Like sand, it's coarse, it gets everywhere.
That was the main reason he went to the dark
He
side,
did,
wasn't
yeah.
it? In the dark side, there is no sand. Sign me up.
Your journey to the sandless planet is complete. But yeah, like he gains the confidence to massacre younglings and stuff. So
We've all always wanted that confidence, haven't we?
That sounds like the wrong type of confidence, doesn't it?
it is, yeah.
You know when you're walking past the magazine stand and you see the front of Women's Health and it says, "Get the confidence to slaughter younglings this summer."
So yeah, you've kind of persuaded me your way of thinking. If you can't be yourself, create an alter ego, but don't be a terrorist, a murderer of younglings, or Loki. Find a better alter ego.
So Liam, moving on from Carl, I'm sorry, Carl, to
That's
just
all right.
move on
Just move on.
unceremoniously, but you've got 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Try
Oh, I
to
can-
fucking stick to it this time.
I can do
Jesus
this in
H.
5 minutes.
Christ.
I mean, you know, that first...
Whilst we interrupt you.
I swear to God. that first line about, you know, having trouble persuading myself to feel confident about anything, it brought a line to my head. You know, what do we know about confidence? Well, confidence is a preference for the habitual voyeur of what is known as...
Park life.
I spent a long time during the prep trying to figure out what that line meant.
Park life.
It's a weird next line, isn't it?
And I've got no idea. Do you know what that means?
Confidence is a preference.
For the habitual voyeur of what is known as park life.
It's meaningless, isn't it? So, it's voyeur, as in someone who watches
Yeah.
people.
No, but it's designed to make
So
you think.
there's
What does it mean when it's actually crap?
What's that bloke from EastEnders doing in this video?
Park life?
So maybe the habitual voyeur is watching the park life habitually.
Well, all the people, so many people.
Going hand in hand through their park life.
Yeah.
But what
Dun,
confidence is a preference? Whose confidence?
Why are you asking us?
I
You're the music maestro.
I was trying to figure
What's
out.
his
and I
name,
just
the
couldn't.
bloke who did this?
Phil Daniels.
Oh, the magician.
Yeah.
Where was Debbie McGee?
She was in the park.
Park life. Park life.
Anyway, it's got nothing to do with the problem. But if any of the listeners can tell me what that line means, I would appreciate it. So write in agonyartpodcast.com.
Was that your contribution to this problem?
No, there's one hugely successful act that I think will cheer you on hearing your problem. It sounds like you're insecure, but I don't know what for. You're turning heads when you walk through the door.
Down. Everyone else in the room can see it.
Yeah.
Should we all jump in there? But
No, we're just... Go ahead, Carl, take it.
One Direction.
I think
We are.
we've exhausted the lines we can quote.
Have we? Carl just said blah, blah, blah for a long
I thought those were the lyrics.
One Direction, 2011. What makes you beautiful? I think this might lose me some street cred, but I really like this song. It was co-written by a bloke called Savan Kotecha. I don't know if I've got that name pronunciation right. Apologies, Savan, if you're listening. He has got songwriting credits on a bunch of modern pop songs. He's worked with acts like Ariana Grande, Katy Perry, Britney Spears. The list goes on. And he's a protege of the Swedish producer and songwriter Max Martin. Do either of you know who he is?
No.
He is so successful that they've made a jukebox musical exclusively of songs that he's been involved in. It's Anne Juliet. Have you heard of that?
Yep.
Anyway, forget about Max Martin. We'll talk about him some other time. Savan Kotecha, who co-wrote What Makes You Beautiful, in an interview with a Hollywood Reporter in 2013, he explained that he wrote it for his wife. One morning, he said she was saying, "Oh, I feel so ugly." And he responded something like, "You're not ugly, you're beautiful. You don't know how beautiful you look." He probably said it a lot more eloquently than that. And
when you're insecure, don't know what for.
He just launched into the song. But apparently that was where the idea of the song was born. And I thought that was quite a nice story, and I've, quite relatable as well. I think we've all been in that situation where we've known someone who's like feeling a bit down about himself, and you're like, "Nah, you're brilliant. Don't worry about it."
Liam, you don't know you're beautiful.
Oh, this means so much.
Nor do we.
That sounds about right. And in the same interview, he said it's the song that he's the most proud of because of the sentiment behind it, the fact it was written for his wife, and also the fact that it made an absolute killing.
I'm really proud of my golden throne.
And the message from it is a really simple one. You might think you're rubbish and you don't know what you're doing and all that, but chances are there's someone who thinks you're brilliant. And also that modesty you have is a very admirable trait, and the final lyric sums it up really well, which is, "Right now I'm looking at you and I can't believe you don't know. You don't know you're beautiful. That's what makes you beautiful."
Na 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 na.
So is he saying you don't know you're beautiful and that's what makes you beautiful? So if she gained some self-confidence, he would go off her.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Oh, you're too full of yourself now."
I can end on a very effective way. And my wife says this a lot, which is a lovely quote from Roald Dahl. So you, Aaron, should have come up with this. But this is a quote. "If a person has ugly thoughts, it begins to show on the face. A person who has good thoughts cannot ever be ugly. You can have a wonky nose and a crooked mouth and a double chin and stick out teeth. But if you have good thoughts, it will shine out of your face like sunbeams and you always look lovely."
I once had a problem that I couldn't solve. I went to the preacher, he couldn't save my soul. I sent for the doctor, he said, "I don't know." Then I listened to this podcast, and madness took hold.
Okay, so welcome everybody to the Agony Arties. The
first Agony Arties.
First annual Agony Arties, where we celebrate a season or series in the UK of problem solving.
We are in the UK, so
for our UK fans, a series celebrating a whole series of problem solving and a recap of some of the great advice that we've dished. So, the first award is... Okay, drum roll, anyone?
I can do that as well.
Liam's drum rolling. Worst advice of the year.
Oh, I wonder what this is going to be.
So,
is it take your job and shove it?
Nominee. Liam suggesting to get over your work woes by telling your boss to take your job and shove it. His first nomination. Aaron advising to eliminate your duplicitous friend in Tinker Tailor fashion.
Send them to Russia.
A couple from me, buying a zoo.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
That is expensive.
And getting out of Zoom quizzes by having a demon kill your friends during a seance.
I thought that was a goer, to be honest.
That was good advice.
But there's only one winner. And it's another one from Liam. The Agony Artie goes to Liam, saying you can paper over the cracks in your life by going on a hot air balloon.
Yes!
That was shit advice.
It's good enough for Desiree.
Okay, on to our second award of the evening. Best friend of the show. Now, I'm going to tell you the nominees and you two can decide.
This is voted for by the people.
Yeah, the nominees are voted for by the people. And I'll let Aaron have the casting vote.
By the person.
So it's first nomination, Morrissey. Morrissey, have you got anything to say?
No.
Second nomination is a latecomer to the show, but Michael Jackson. Who's and our third nomination goes to David Bowie.
Oh, thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Aaron, as lead host for most of the season, who is our best friend of the show?
It's got to be Morrissey, hasn't it? He's appeared in the most episodes. Liam fucking loves him. And he's just about desperate enough to be in the public eye that we might be able to get him on as a guest.
Okay, and so the award goes to Morrissey.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's a mixture between Michael Jackson and Morrissey.
Okay, moving on to our third award of the evening. The best advice of the year from multiple media.
This might be Take Your Job and Shove It, Liam. Could be.
And the nominees are Aaron, who suggested many occasions to read On Writing by Stephen King.
That is... Well, instant winner. Do we need to carry on?
My recent advice to watch Hook to learn how to appreciate what you have in your life, which is probably the only good advice I've dished out.
Is that just because I said, this is good advice?
Yeah, it was validated. And whilst Take Your Job and Shove It is good, bad advice, Liam does win Best Advice of the Year. And it's going back all the way back to episode 1 with Liam's example of God Bless the Child by Billie Holiday in showing you how to deal with your mum.
Oh, my days. That was first problem. First episode. First problem.
Nailed
You've
it.
Peaked.
Yeah.
In the very first
Is that my best
episode.
content?
I think it was.
And the worst content wasn't that long ago. I don't think we should do a series 2.
You've been constantly going downhill, Liam.
Okay. Fourth award of the evening. Best source of advice. There's an album that Liam come back to quite a few times. Do you remember what it was?
You're
Rumours.
talking about rumours?
Rumours.
I think it was twice, wasn't it?
There's a lot of this, more than once. The sunscreen song, also Liam.
Excellent.
Fountain of advice. Aaron, Eat, Pray, Love. 3 good things you can do.
It's the source of 3 good pieces of advice.
But there's only one winner. The Greatest Showman, that shows you how you can become zero to hero. You can get whatever you want.
I'm starting to doubt.
This is the greatest show. So congratulations to Hugh
Not
Jackman
only
and Zac Efron.
Was it a shit winner, but he was also clipping all the way through that in his overexcitement about The Greatest Showman. Fucking
Should I
hell.
do it again?
No, I'll turn you down and they can hear you clipping. And you can wallow in that fucking shame of...
And the last award of the evening, and the biggie, Host of the Year. The nominations are Aaron and
Oh my God.
Liam.
Woo, Liam!
And the winner is...
That was Carl not getting a nomination.
And the winner is... Carl! Yes. The people have spoken, and I am the favourite. Congratulations to me. Thank you very much.
Let's move on to problem 3. My friend is a terrible dancer, and it makes me not want to go out with her. How do I let her know?
How good are you two at dancing? I can't remember the last time we went out dancing. Probably years
There's
ago.
a good reason for that.
When
Yeah.
when I'm not shit-faced, I just stick to the dad dancing. And it's definitely not good, but it's like just... It's
Sway.
not over the top. I'm not attracting any attention. No one's thinking he's a shit dancer or he's a good dancer. I'm just there. But when I am shit-faced, I think I'm Michael Flatley.
Michael Flatley.
What, you
Michael
river dance?
Flatley.
What, you just do
I
your
just
legs?
river dance.
Your upper body is completely static.
Yeah.
Your lower body
Sometimes
is...
my arms are outstretched or up high. but my legs are going like the clappers. But no, I definitely I just well, it's probably a good thing. Lose all inhibition and go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can only dance when I'm drunk, and I think I'm fucking brilliant at it.
You're a great comedy dancer.
Oh. I thought it was just genuinely good.
Well, when you leave your neck still and move every other part of your body.
Yes.
So during lockdown, my wife started doing musical theatre dance fitness lessons on Zoom. And I thought, this looks like fun. I'll join you one week. So the first week I joined, and they were doing burlesque. So I learnt some very sexy moves, let me tell you.
Liam, get off my leg.
But I'm not sure if I want to do them in public.
That's so weird.
So do you reckon your wife wrote this in about you?
she might have done, yeah.
Well, before we forget their name, dancers' names.
Tiny.
Jeanette Mamrara.
Who?
Yeah, I prefer Jeanette. Liam, you haven't gone first yet. And it will help with the time management because
you'll be done.
Yeah, and you can badger someone else about trying to get done in 2 minutes or something.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I think you could be very honest about it. And I think that's advice I've given quite a lot over the months of Agony. And Eddie Grant was very honest about it in 1982. He released a single called I Don't Want to Dance. Do you think I was going to say Electric Avenue?
Yeah.
And you could quote this song directly to your friend and sing to her, I don't want to dance. Dance with your baby no more. Dance with you, baby, not with your baby.
I don't want to dance with your baby anymore.
Stop trying to make me dance with your baby.
Have we heard this song, Liam?
You might have done.
How does it go?
It was number 1 in the UK in 1982. It goes,
I've heard it.
I don't want to dance with your baby no more.
No. Never heard it.
Well, you haven't heard it then.
Carry on, sorry.
Does it go, I wanna rock down to Electric Avenue,
but I don't want to dance.
No more.
How do we take media and make it better all the time? We just...
So here's something that I didn't know about before I looked up this song. And in a 2008 interview with The Independent, Eddie Grant explained that I Don't Want to Dance is actually a protest song. And the lyrics, which sound like they're about somebody ending a romantic relationship, are a metaphor for Eddie Grant saying goodbye to Britain and its deep-rooted class and colour divisions. This is what was in the interview. And this wasn't just like an empty threat. He actually moved to Barbados after this and recorded the rest of his albums there at his own studio. But, crucially, he does say in the interview that you can take the lyrics however you want, which is great in this case because I'm clutching at straws, really. But if you do think that's too much of a stretch, you could ignore that advice entirely and instead listen to Gloria Estefan, who in 1987 told you in no uncertain terms, the rhythm is going to get you. She sings...
Rhythm is a dancer.
I'm as serious as cancer when I say rhythm is a dancer.
That should have won the Agony Artie for worst lyrics as well, shouldn't it? Just to add to the...
We hadn't mentioned it yet. It can be in next year's Agony Arties.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So she sang, no way, you can fight it every day, but no matter what you say, the rhythm is gonna get you. And the point here is that there's no use trying to stop your friend from dancing. You should just accept your fate, because one day the rhythm will get you too. So you might as well join her while you're still friends.
What was the point of the first one, though? You could just tell your friend...
Just be honest and say, I don't want to dance.
Anymore. All right. I want to leave Britain and move to Barbados.
Dance
rather than dance with you.
Rather than dance with you. That's how bad you are. Yeah, but what if, Liam? What if Jeanette is just spreading shit about her friend to make herself look better? What if Jeanette's the problem here? In Tiny Pretty Things... Were you done?
Yeah.
In Tiny Pretty Things by Sona Charipotra and Donielle Clayton, This book is described as Black Swan meets Pretty Little Liars, and it's been adapted into a Netflix series. Gigi is a new girl at ballet school, and Bet is your typical mean girl who hates Gigi, and indeed any girl who wants to steal her crown and will do anything to bring them down. And I'm not even going to go further into the plot. That's all you need to know, because what I'm going to tell you is you should chill your beans, Jeanette. Freeze your peas before you become like Bet. Because what people don't realise is that bringing other people down, like you are with your friend, won't lift you up. Even if you tell everyone your friend is bad at dancing, that won't mean that everyone will think that you're great at dancing. So just chill out. Just,
Relax.
Yeah, relax,
Take it
man.
slow.
Unless she really is bad at dancing, in which case my advice would be go out with her more often, because next to her you'll look great.
Yeah, that's a
If she's a really bad dancer, people will go, she's shit, but her mate's all right. So there's my advice, Jeanette.
So, do either of you watch Seinfeld or have watched Seinfeld?
No,
Haven't we had this conversation already?
that was Frasier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've not watched either of them.
No. Seinfeld is amazing.
That's what you said about Frasier.
It's also amazing, yeah. But a lot of things in America, Seinfeld is like...
Would you describe it as the best situational comedy ever written?
No.
That's what you said about Frasier.
Yeah. I said they do it better than anyone else. Doesn't mean that not all the episodes
Doesn't
are
mean
the
it's the
best. Like there's a few there's only like 4 or 5 episodes in Frasier that are brilliant, like pure genius, but it's all good. But Seinfeld is like a cultural institution in America. Like there are so many things that come from Seinfeld that American people say like is ridiculous. Like a yada yada yada.
Don't have a cowman.
Yeah, exactly. But, and this one is like a one of the most famous episodes called Little Kicks from season 8, episode 4, 1996. And Elaine, one of the main characters, invites George to an office party, and the party's not going very well. It's not very lively. So Elaine takes her to the dance floor to get the party going, and it turns out she's a terrible dancer. So we can see she's terrible. And it's called a little kick because she just like randomly kicks her leg out, and she also I just kicked my leg out, listeners. And also she kind of like has a fist with her thumb up and like just jerks her thumb out, and like almost hits people in the eye. So she's really bad. It's the first time that her colleagues have seen her dance, and so she loses their respect. They start talking about her behind her back. And they copied a dance behind her back as well. Like she just like completely lost the office over it. But she doesn't know how bad she is, and she doesn't see all this happening. So she assumes the atmosphere is because of George. Like it's the first time his colleagues have met her. Suddenly they're not talking to her properly, so she thinks George has said something or did something. So your friend might get some funny looks when you're out and she's dancing, and she might think it's because of you. She doesn't realise she's a bad dancer. So you need to nip it in the bud, really. And that's what Kramer does, one of the friends. He says, "You stink." And Jerry Seinfeld...
And also, you're a bad dancer.
And Jerry Seinfeld, the main character, he confirms it. He tries to wriggle out of it, but he says, "Yeah, the little flicks, the little kick, you stink." And what they suggest she does is that she films herself dancing and makes her own mind up, which she does. And she says, "Oh my God, I stink." So she realises. And but yeah, so I think that you need to be upfront with your friend and say you're not very good, or just why don't you secretly film her dancing, then show her and be like, oh, and then maybe she'll realise. So without really hurting her feelings. But I think if it's that bad, you need to nip it in the bud.
For the viewers, earlier tonight while we were recording this episode, Carl showed us security camera footage of his house where his wife was taking in the washing, and we all watched her bring the washing indoors.
Can I just know that I get alerts when like the security camera's tripped?
Yeah, whatever.
So it's not like I was just staring at it constantly.
So I think it would be a bit creepy secretly filming your friend, but
Maybe not if you're Carl.
maybe if it was caught on CCTV, then you could show her.
Come to my house, walk through to my garden dancing, and then I can show her.
While my wife brings in the laundry.
Yeah, you made me seem really creepy.
So we've broken our streak because we were agreeing all the way through this episode, and then on this last problem, we went in three completely different directions. Carl said either tell her or film her. Aaron said don't be a dickhead.
Yep,
Maybe.
It's your fault. It's your problem.
And I said either be honest or move to Barbados.
You be honest or don't.
Or join in.
I think that's the best way to end the series, though.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
With absolutely no help. 3 or 4 separate pieces of advice. Totally disparate.
And none of them any good.
Yeah. End the way we started.
And the way we will go on. Riding high into season 2.
Yeah. 100%.
Series 2 for our UK viewers. Listeners.
Can't believe you translate things for your home audience.
Well, I think that's all we got time for today. Any final words for the listeners, Aaron, Carl?
I think you should keep an eye out for that giveaway I mentioned. When we reach 1,000 listens.
Liam's virginity is up for grabs.
And maybe a Netflix subscription as well for when you're done with him.
Netflix and chill with Liam of Agony on.
I am not agreeing to this. Just
All right, just Netflix, no chill.
And on that note, check the episode notes on agonyartpodcast.com to find links to all the media we mentioned today and in the rest of the series, and for a link to the Agony Art Spotify playlists, where you can listen to all of the songs too. If you have a problem you'd like us to attempt to solve, you can reach us on our group Instagram and Twitter accounts, that's at Agony Art Podcast, or on the submissions page on our website, and we will include them in Series 2. I would like to thank our resident Agony Aunts for their contributions. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Carl.
Cock!
Fuck it. Oh, shit.
And thank you, dear listener, for listening with your ears.
Actually, I can end on a review I received from a listener. My dad. Are you on drugs when you record that podcast?
To be fair, we are.
We are not on drugs.
We'll be back next series with more problems to muddle our way through and more entertainment for you to check out. We'll see you then. Bye.
See you guys.
Mince pies.
But I'd suggest keep it light, cause their advice can be shite, and they won't be held liable. Oh no, not at all. Not here at Agony Art. Agony Art.